morning, Lieutenant Phillips.
Good morning.
We know that I know you work here at the Richmond Public Library, but what are your duties exactly?
I am the site supervisor, the lieutenant for all of the Richmond Public Libraries.
For all the Richmond Public Libraries?
Yes.
Okay. And then I heard that you also work at the polls.
I do. My precinct is 213. That's the precinct number, which is George Washington Carver Elementary School on West Lee Street.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you worked there?
12 years.
12 years,
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think that qualifies you as a suffragist, or we could say a suffragette.
Ah.
You know, because we know there were, year is the celebration of the 19th Amendment, which granted women the vote. But it's also important to know that there were men involved in the suffrage movement. So we are celebrating not only the voting rights for women, but also for men.
Very good.
And we need to know that this is going to be a presidential election, so all suffragists and suffragettes need to vote.
Some of the polling places in the city have changed. Is that true?
It is true. Yes, ma'am. There are 5 polls that have moved for this election.
Ooh.
The first poll that's moved is Precinct 203, which is the Arthur Ashe Center on Arthur Ashe Boulevard. Precinct 206 has moved, which is the VCU Institute for Contemporary Art, which is on West Broad Street. The third one will be Precinct 207. That is the Museum of History and Culture on Arthur Ashe Boulevard. Also Precinct 412, which is the Lucille Brown Elementary School on Jank Road. And the last one that has moved is Precinct 702, which is the Sarah Garland Jones Center on 9 Mile Road.
Wow. So is there a place where people can check to see what their precinct polling place is?
Yes, ma'am. You can go to the website for the Virginia Department of Elections, or you can go to the website for the Richmond City Registrar's Office.
So I've heard there are a lot of different ways you can vote. Is it true you can actually mail in your vote?
You can mail in your ballot, yes. It has to be mailed in by, first of all, you can obtain or request a ballot by October 23rd, 5 p.m. And it has to be postmarked by 11:59 on the day of election, which is November 3rd.
Wow. Okay, so that's one way,
Yes.
mail in. And then you can vote in person early, I heard.
You can. Right now, the city of Richmond only has one place to vote early, in-person voting, and that is at the city registrar's office, which is on Laburnum Avenue in Richmond. And you can do that up until October 31st.
Great, great. And I heard that they're also going to be opening up some other places in the city where you can vote on Saturdays too?
Yes, ma'am. The last 2 Saturdays in this month of October, the city will open up 2 satellite locations. One will be at the City Hall at 9th and Broad, and the second one will be on Belt Boulevard at a location called the Hickory Hill Community Center, I think it is, yes.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's really, really handy.
Sure.
So, and then of course you can vote on election day, right?
Absolutely. The polls open at 6 a.m. and they will close at 7 p.m.
Okay. So what happens if there's a lot of people and, I don't want to stand in line. Is it going to be a really long line? I remember back in 2008,
yes,
the lines were ridiculous.
Yes, it was, but it was great to see that.
Yes.
This time around, this election should be just as big, I think. But I don't believe there will be as many people because the early voting. So far in Virginia, there there's been over 353,000 people that have voted early already.
You're kidding
in
me.
person,
Wow.
Yes. 353,000 total. Just over 100,000 of that is in-person voting.
Wow, that's
Yes.
amazing.
Absolutely.
And I heard that there have been millions of people that have voted across the country already.
Yeah, yeah.
What happens when I get to the polls?
Okay, so when you come into any poll, the very first thing you're going to encounter is the e-poll book line. That's the line, the station that will check you in to make sure you are the person who you're voting for. Then they'll send you from that point to a ballot officer who will give you the correct ballot. And then you go to your voting booth, pick your choices, move over to the scanning machine, insert your ballot, and obtain your I voted sticker afterwards.
Wow, that sounds really easy.
It is.
And what happens, are there any changes because of the pandemic?
The changes that are made are mostly for the workers, the poll workers. Of course, we're trying to keep everyone safe. So that being said, we are now providing hand sanitizer for our voters. Masks if you don't have one, because masks are required inside of all public buildings.
Right, that's why we're wearing our masks
Indeed,
now.
indeed, yeah. And we also will have plexiglass dividers at each station between the workers and the voters.
Oh, I did have one other question.
Sure.
When we go to Laburnum, since that's sort of new to most of us, how easy is it to get there?
Very easy. It's right off of the interstate, and so you can actually drop off the exit there, and it's right there as soon as you get off the exit.
Oh, good.
Or if you're in the city, if you're going, I think, north on Laburnum Avenue, south on Laburnum. That would be north. If you go away from White Oak Mall on Laburnum towards the rail yard, at the very end of Laburnum Avenue, there's a railroad yard. It looks almost like you're going to go into the railroad yard, but the last driveway on your right, they'll have all kinds of balloon signs and everything there. You turn right into that driveway, and that is the new location, 2134 West Laburnum Avenue.
Oh. And if perchance I don't have a car, how would I get there?
Okay, so the City of Richmond has also provided free transportation for our voters from downtown Richmond, 9th and Broad at City Hall. That bus will run once an hour starting at 7:45 a.m. and every 45 minutes on the 45 mark, the bus will leave that location nonstop to 2134 West Laburnum Avenue, the City Registrar's office. There also will be a second bus leaving from Robinson and Broad Streets. Same thing, every 45 minutes, once an hour until 4:45 p.m., both locations.
Wow, that's really easy. I feel much better about voting now, don't you, Kathy? So I have options.
Yes.
I can request a mail-in ballot by October 23rd
Yes,
and
ma'am.
mail it back in so that it's postmarked by November 3rd
Yes, ma'am.
before the polls close. Or I can vote early in person by October 31st at the registrar's office.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can vote in person on Election Day on November 3rd between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, this
Yes.
is great. So where can I go to get more information, Lieutenant Phillips?
Once again, you can go to the Virginia Department of Elections website. We'll tell you everything you need to know. And same on the website for the Richmond City Registrar's Office. Plenty of
Great.
information on both of those sites for you.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Phillips. We're so glad that we talked to you.
Yes, ma'am.